Have you ever just dreamed of waking up to the sounds of a rainforest, surrounded by nothing but green? It's a pretty powerful idea, right? But what if you could actually make that a reality? Well, today, we're going to explore a blueprint that turns that dream into a real, tangible plan. We're breaking down how to build a minimalist, safe, and sustainable treehouse right in the heart of the tropics.
And right out of the gate, the philosophy here is crystal clear. This is not just about building some cool-looking fort in the trees. No, it's a much deeper approach. One that puts safety first, respects the environment, and really aims to create a space that feels like it truly belongs in the forest. So, where in the world do you start a project like this? Well, it's not with blueprints or a pile of lumber. It starts with the living foundation of the entire structure. The first and honestly the most critical step is picking the perfect tree. Literally, everything else hinges on this one decision.
And you gotta be super specific here, for good reason. You're looking for a tree that is, of course, strong and healthy, but it goes deeper than that. It needs to be a species with deep roots, think teak or ironwood, that act like a natural anchor in the ground. And you have to inspect it like a detective, looking for any sign of pests or rot that could weaken it over time.
Okay, here's a number you absolutely cannot ignore. The source is very clear. You need a minimum trunk diameter of 30 to 50 centimeters. That's about 12 to 20 inches. And look, this isn't a suggestion, folks. It's a fundamental requirement to make sure that tree can physically handle the weight of your hideaway.
But remember, the perfect tree in the wrong spot is still the wrong spot. You have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Is the area prone to landslides or floods? And then there's the practical stuff, right? Like, can you even get your materials to the site without some massive effort? These are the real-world questions that can make or break a project before you even hammer a single nail.
Okay, so once you've found your perfect tree and the perfect spot, it's time to start thinking about the structure itself. And here, it's all about smart design and picking materials that can actually handle a demanding tropical climate.
So when we say minimalist in this context, what does that really mean? Well, two things. First, a small, light footprint that respects the tree and its home. And second, a design where every single square inch counts. We're not building a mansion in the sky here. Think more of a compact, super efficient space, maybe just 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 meters, where every little thing has a purpose.
And these are the absolute non-negotiables for a tropical treehouse. You need large windows, and not just for the amazing light, but for that crucial airflow. A steeply slanted roof is a must to deal with those intense tropical downpours. And of course, a small terrace, because what's the point of being up in the treetops if you can't step outside and just soak in that view?
Choosing your materials is a really delicate balancing act. You need stuff that's super lightweight to keep the load on the tree down, but it also has to be crazy strong to be safe. The source gives us some awesome eco-friendly ideas, like bamboo or Meranti wood, paired with steel cables for support, and light roofing materials like shingles or even traditional palm leaves.
All right, we've got our location and our design figured out. Now for the really tricky part, the engineering. How do you actually attach this thing to the tree safely? And, just as important, how are you going to get up there?
So, you've basically got 3 main ways to support a treehouse. You can bolt it directly to the trunk, you can suspend it with heavy-duty cables, or you can use a semi-supported method with posts that go all the way to the ground. But honestly, for maximum safety and stability, the source says the best bet is a hybrid approach. Combine that direct attachment to the tree with ground posts for some extra peace of mind.
You know, your choice of how you get up there really says a lot about the vibe of your treehouse. A simple wood ladder is classic, it's functional. A rope ladder? Well, that's for the adventurers out there. But for the best mix of comfort and safety, especially if you're carrying things up and down, a small spiral staircase is really the gold standard.
Building in the tropics is not like building anywhere else on Earth. You're up against some pretty unique challenges, but with smart design, you can learn to work in harmony with the climate instead of constantly fighting against it.
So, what's the first major challenge that pops into your head when you think of a tropical forest? Yep, the rain. And we're not talking about a little drizzle here. We're talking about serious, heavy downpours. And the solution? It's a 2-part plan, and it's beautifully simple. First, that slanted roof we keep talking about is key. It sheds water fast. Second, you need a good drainage system to get that water away from the structure and its foundation, which is crucial for preventing rot and damage. Next up, 2 constant companions in the tropics, that thick, sticky humidity, and, of course, a whole universe of insects. So how do you stay comfortable and, not get eaten alive?
And again, it all comes back to smart, simple design. Those large windows and an open layout are absolutely essential for maximizing natural ventilation. You got to keep the air moving to fight that humidity. And for the bugs, simple, effective mosquito netting, an absolute must-have.
Okay, last but definitely not least, let's talk safety. These things are completely non-negotiable. You need a sturdy little fence on the terrace, for obvious reasons. Anti-slip flooring is critical in a climate where everything can be a bit damp. You have to be super strict about weight limits so you don't stress the tree. And most important of all, always have a simple, clear evacuation plan just in case.
So after all that planning, all the careful engineering and the thoughtful building, what have you really created? It's so much more than just a structure. It's a sanctuary. It's a space that's comfortable and cool, sure, but it's also one that feels completely woven into the natural world around it. It's a safe and secure haven, designed for rest, for reflection, and maybe even for a little healing.
Ultimately, this whole process is about so much more than just construction. It's about intentionally creating your own personal retreat, one that connects you directly with the rhythm of nature. And that powerful idea leaves us with one last question to think about. Are you ready to build your own healing space?